As you were really coming alongside people who are suffering
Mm,
and going through trauma, what did that look
mm,
like? Because I feel like for those of us who are encountering others in our
mm,
church or
mm,
friends or loved ones who are suffering, many times we
mm.
don't know what to
Yeah.
say. Words fail us, and I'm wondering, like, as you have 15 years serving in so many different capacities to helping people who are hurting, what does it look like to come alongside?
Oh, Mike, such a good question. And I mean, you could there's a whole industry now around what not to say to people who are suffering. So many Instagram accounts and books and in some ways I get a little bit nervous about telling people what not to say to a griever or to someone who's traumatized because there's been so much said about all the terrible things that you can say in that moment that I'm afraid people will just not say anything at all. They'll be so afraid of saying the wrong
Hmm.
thing that they won't say anything at all, that they'll avoid the person. They're afraid of doing further damage. They're just gonna leave them alone. And I would say that's the worst thing you can do. I mean, your imperfect presence is a lot better than your absence in a moment of loss and sorrow. And I actually think the best way to start when someone's in experienced trauma, experienced losses, I don't know what to say, and just be honest with them and say, I'm here for you. I don't even know what to say, and to just kind of be there in the mystery of it all. I think one thing I have found, I spent a lot of years going to hard places and listening to aid workers tell me their difficult stories and listening some to the stories of the beneficiaries they were working with. And I think the best thing you can do is just be curious. Be curious about their experience. Ask them questions about their experience and what they're feeling. You know, and also to show interest in the person as a whole. To not just, I know sometimes grief can feel like it consumes your whole life, and it seemed like for a long time the only thing anyone wanted to ask me about was my grief. And sometimes I
Hmm.
wanted to talk about something other than that. Our lives are made up of so much more than the trauma we've experienced or the grief we've experienced. And so a lot of times going to be with an aid worker who had just experienced a traumatic event was me being like, what books are you reading right now? Or what Netflix series are you binging? And talking and
Hmm.
just being with the person as a whole person. That's I'm scratching the surface, but I think the main thing is just don't never treat someone like they have the plague if they have experienced loss or trauma. You might say something wrong, but they'd rather you say something a little off-putting than to be avoided completely.
I like the way you put that. I had to write this down. Imperfect
Mm,
presence. Like, I think that's a beautiful way to put it.
yeah.
Because I feel like that's, I mean, I think my struggle sometimes is that when I see somebody who's
Mm,
suffering, a loved one, I want to just pull away because I feel like I'm going to say the wrong
yeah.
thing. I'm going to make it
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
And that's a struggle for me.
Yeah, totally. And I think that just being honest with the person about that, just you just say like, hey, man, I don't want to say the wrong thing right now. I don't even know what to say, but I just want to be here for you. I want you to know I care about you, and I want you to know I'm here to listen. I think that is, that is huge. I mean, and always the default is say less than you're willing to like listen more, say less. I think that's always
Hmm.
kind of the default. And another thing that really helped me was people that were just like, let's go do something together. Because if they were like, let's go have coffee and talk about how sad you are, it was like, well,
Hmm.
that sounds
Hmm.
overwhelming right now. But if they were like, hey, you want to go for a walk, or hey, you want to go see a movie or whatever. And then that's when the talking came out, when I felt kind of comfortable and I could kind of be distracted with something else. But
Hey, thank you so much for watching this video clip from the Delgado podcast. To get more videos just like this, simply subscribe here on YouTube. Take care.